All right, coming in at number 27 on our 2025 Locked On Senators NHL Draft Rankings, to the QMJHL we go. One of the oldest players of this draft class. Wild to say. He did turn 18, though, in October, so played his entire season as an 18-year-old. It is Bill Zonnon, who's recently been in the news, too, getting traded just yesterday.
Yeah, Ross, I'll let you do the news report of where he was playing and where he was traded. I'm going to butcher those QMJHL team names, so I'll leave that for you. But what I can tell you confidently about is the stats this guy puts up. 64 games, 28 points, 28 goals. Oh, no. 55 assists for 83 points with the Huskies. He was assistant captain. And then in the playoffs, he popped off too. 8 goals, 8 assists in 13 games, so above a point per game pace. So sure, he's older, got more size, got more experience. His third straight year in the Q. He's got 195 games under his belt, but he's making the most of his time there. And I've been impressed what I've seen from Bill Zonnon so far.
One of the best work rates in the entire CHL. He can play versatile at the wing or at the center ice position. He's got the size, the determination. He's physical. He brings a full package to whatever team decides to draft him. We know in the Q it's a little bit different, a little bit more fast flowing than the other Ontario and Western hockey leagues, but you can't hold that against him as he's done his best now for 3 full seasons in the QMJHL, which I think that's great that he got traded. By the way, it's from Rouyn-Noranda to Blainville-Boisbriand. That was nice. The deal, and it included a player that we covered a couple drafts ago. Spencer Gill came the other way in that trade, so we'll see how that affects his development, but that's a long time. A lot of games.
Did they both get traded there, Ross? I don't think Gill went together? The other way. Yeah, no, that was a separate deal. Both of them going to the new Armada team. Yeah.
All right. So then maybe that's going to be a wagon next season.
Yeah, they're stacking up.
195 games already in the Q, 180 points. But in the playoffs, he ups that point per game to over 1, where he's got 33 points in 32 games, including 16 in 13 games this past season. Bill Zonnon is a, quote, playoff-ready forward. That's from the elevator pitch over at Elite Prospects. And when you look at what Scott Wheeler sees at him, one of the first things that jump out is that, to me, is that he's got a B game as well, which gives you that high certainty that no matter where you plug and place him into the lineup, he can contribute in different ways, even if the scoring perhaps takes a drop-off once he turns pro.
Yeah, and you can really see that through watching him and through any reports you read from scouts. EP mentions how he's always supporting teammates in all 3 zones. He pressures opponents with physical contact. He forechecks with aggression. He doesn't need a lot of work defensively. He is the prototype of what you want a power forward to be. And I would say he has a high floor. And I feel like, Ross, that's typically a backhanded compliment when you say prospects have a high floor, because then it's usually followed by saying low ceiling. But I wouldn't say that about Bill Zonnon. I would say he has a high floor with lots of good potential to grow. Like, if you're a team and a scout that's had difficulties drafting projectable players, and you're like, look, enough with the high upside, enough with the boomer bust. It hasn't been working out for us. Let's get a guy into our system that is safe, well-rounded, can produce offensively, is good defensively, good in all 3 zones, has size, has experience. Draft Bill Zonnon then. He's a guy that I feel like you can pick with lots of comfort, knowing you're going to have a guy that's going to push to be a pro player at one point in his career. So I like this player too, Ross.
Just like Jack Murtagh, it's a guy that's not going to be, oh my God, what a home run steal. That's now the best prospect in Team X's pool. But he's a perfect complementary piece to a prospect pool that already has high-end talent, or a team that already has their core nucleus at the NHL level. And you're just looking to add around the edges to guys who can be difference makers in different ways. Bill Zonnon and Jack Murtagh both give you that flexibility that all teams are looking for when they're looking to build their third line, but maybe whether it's an injury or just the flow of a season, they can step up and take on a bigger role and really impact the score of a game.
Yeah, definitely. I lean more towards Bill Zonnon than I do Jack Murtagh. I mean, he is one spot ahead of him in our rankings, so that makes sense. But I just think he has a little bit more of a B game or skills away from the puck than Murtagh had. Not to say he can't get there one day, but I would say Zonnon is ahead of him. And I mean, we're looking at one of the older players in the draft compared to one of the younger players in the draft. So again, you have to look at that when you're doing that comparison. But
I was going to say, do you think he's about 11 months better than Jack Murtagh?
Actually, you know what? That sounds about right. I would say he's 11 months ahead in his development path. So, yeah, that's a good point. I got Bill Zonnon, 4 stars.
Whoa!
Back-to-back 4-star day for me here. So, it's a good one. If the Ottawa Senators, again, I would say 21 is a little high for a guy like Zonnon. And I think I'll be saying this every single year leading up to the draft. I want to see the Sens try to take a swing for a guy with more upside. But if the Sens were to draft Zonnon at 21, or if he was still available and they're like, hey, we can trade back a couple picks and we could probably still get him, I wouldn't be upset with that.
No, I wouldn't be either. And I would be like, oh, damn, they went that direction. Okay. If they do take Bill Zonnon in the NHL entry draft, he is 27th on our Locked On Senators rankings, an average of 28.14. I don't think I read off all of the rankings, so I'll do that to wrap up. Usually we do it at the start. Craig Button higher than anyone else on him, 18th overall on Bob's rankings. Corey Pronman and Locked On NHL have him at 27, Elite Prospects at 28, Scott Wheeler at 31, and Bob McKenzie at 34. Again, Bob's rankings are the oldest too, and Zonnon did have a nice finish to his season as well. So there's good reason that Bill Zonnon will hear his name called at the end of the first round in the 2025 entry draft. For all of our draft profiles, you can go check out all on YouTube. We're also available wherever you get your podcasts. In full episodes, we wrap up each and every show over the course of late May and early June with our NHL draft rankings.